Well, good morning, Jamie. How are you? Glad to see you jump in here early. We meant to get you down here to inspect a historic building in Cherryville. I've told a few people about you, Jamie, about your waterproofing and everything. We've got on the Cherryville Historic Society building, we've got a leakage problem. We think it's from the gutters in the back, and it's seeping through some old brickwork and a few things. May have to get you down here to look that over and give you a professional opinion if we can. If you're ever back in this way, I don't want to have to make you come too far out of the way just to come down here. But if you're down here in this area, I might try to see if I can coerce you into coming up to Cherryville again. Get you a little money maybe this time. Maybe get you. I don't know how much money they've got, but let somebody pay a little bit. Let somebody pay a little bit to get you down here this time, and instead of me just with a free cheeseburger, that's about all. That's about all you can get out of me, isn't it? I guess I'm too cheap, but it's a little bit warm. Well, the weather warmed up a bunch this week, but it looks like it's chilling back down a little bit for us now. We're getting a little bit colder today. Yesterday it's been, gosh, we've had all kind of rain. Oh yeah, well I think it was a quality cheeseburger too. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I'm back up here at the shop. I thought I would uh, come up here and uh, kind of kind of get a better signal uh, down at the house. The signal is okay, but it's not the best up here. We got a good strong signal up here. I don't even have to worry about it. It's usually as strong as everything, as long as spectrum's running good, and they 90% of the time they are. So uh, I don't have any big issues, but uh, right now right now it's doing pretty good and all that sort of stuff. Hey Jerome, how are you? Well, it's cooling down out here. I don't know where the cold weather is all over that. We're getting this El Nino to get the water coming in, and then we're getting these cold blasts coming out, these Arctic blasts coming down, kind of swooping down, I guess, where El Nino is not going, and this catching some of that and taking it back up to the north. We'll probably get a couple more Arctic blasts, I would imagine. Uh, I'm not real thrilled about it. I could do without having a single flake of snow down here. I don't care to have the snow uh, and deal with all the freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing. We never get a delightful snow down here. I mean, we might for a day or so, and then the rest of the time it's miserable till it's all gone. I mean, that's generally the way it works. I mean, you get a pretty snowfall. The snowfall looks pretty coming down. Looks good for about a half a day or a day, and then after that, it's miserable. Yeah, it's warm for the month of January. We've been extremely warm down here, and which is good in some ways. Uh, in some ways for us, you need a little bit of in this area. You want a little bit of freezing, so it kills certain bugs and things that it's supposed to kill off, and so you're not inundated with too many when the spring comes back to life. I mean, there's a natural process of the right amount of cold and heat and everything to get the ultimate package, I guess, for your environment. But we hopefully we'll get there. Where are you at today, Jerome? Are you are you back down south? Are you back up north? You're all over the place. I never can. Oh, you're near me. Near Goldsboro, huh? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's I was out near that. I was out at near Burlington yesterday. I had to retrieve my grandson. He was out in his pickup truck picking up his girlfriend, and he's got down there at NC State, and here's my NC State hat. Uh, they've got a rodent problem or something. Him and a couple of his friends have had they're getting mice or something in their cars, and it's eating the wiring harnesses and a few things. And that's what happened to him. We had one replaced just a few weeks ago when he was home on vacation, and he went back, and my son had spent like $300 getting this wiring harness fixed and a few other things, and darn mice or squirrels, mice, some rodent had gotten under his hood again and chewed up his wiring harness. And we're going to have that redone. And Jim and I are going to probably put a loom on it or something to overprotect it and make sure that there's no mice or anything in the insulation of the truck. I mean, this is getting expensive, but that's the way it happens. But that's part of my trip. Of course, earlier this week, I went down to visit with my grandson. And when I was down there, of course, we didn't check out his truck then. I didn't think anything about it. He said his truck had been running fine since we got fixed. And then he goes to take off to go pick up his girlfriend, and nope, it messed up again. No, actually, it just took out one of the coils. So we basically drove it back on 5 cylinders. So I didn't have to tow it. It took out a regen part on the engine and a wiring harness, which we'd already replaced, and one of the spark plug coils, and the wire going down to it had been just chewed up. So we hobbled it on in, and we're going to try to fix that starting tomorrow. Oh, really? I didn't see that. I mean, we were down there in the Greensboro area, right near it and everything. So I didn't get to see that, thank goodness. But yeah, we were down there. Like I said, well, we didn't go into. Well, actually, I said Burlington. He picked up his girlfriend in Burlington and met me at Thomasville. But that's what we did there. But luckily, we didn't have to tow anything. Luckily, we got away from that. But it was a long day, and then Barbara and I went to a concert last night to see Wade Hayes, who's a '90s country artist. Put on a good concert, real good concert. We usually go to the Don Gibson Theater. If anybody from this area, Don Gibson was a huge country music writer and singer back in the 50s and 60s and early 70s. And after he passed away, and he's from Shelby, North Carolina, originally. They took one of the old theaters and remodeled it and just made a beautiful theater over there that they have different recording acts come. Yeah. I'm a party hound. Yeah, Barbara and I are really at it. Hey, Walter. Really? Puts out a sound that mice hate. Does it not run your battery down, or is it just, or is it something that people are going to hear all the time, or what is it? Is that something you get on the internet? If it is, we're probably going to have to do it. Because right now his vehicle keeps attracting mice. I don't know what it is, but if anybody out there knows of anything, we saw where there's some mouse repellent that you can spray on your cars, because evidently this is a huge problem in a lot of places, because these mice evidently love this insulation that's on wires and everything. So I don't know myself personally, but I mean this is the first time we've ever had something like this happen. Not too loud. Well, is it something you hook to your battery? Looks like it would run your battery down after a while if it. I mean, if it continually, I don't know. Well, we might have to try something like that, or if it's got batteries in it, or rechargeable batteries, or something. But we may have to do that because it's, like I said, this is the second time within just the past month that this has happened. I mean, he didn't have any problems up until really about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And one of his classmates, one or his roommate actually, had to have his car towed off. We didn't know about that till yesterday, that he had a problem too, and had cost him several $100s. But that's the brakes. Says it doesn't drain the battery. Okay, well, is that on Amazon or something, Walter? What is that on? I'd like to. I mean, so many of these things are gimmicks. You never know. And but we were going to try that spray first. Of course, he's got my pickup truck down there now. I hope I told him to kind of check my truck a couple times this week until his mom and dad get down there to pick it back up. But mine's a diesel and his is gas. So I don't know if the diesel smell will repel mice or not. I don't know. It just, and mine doesn't have the wiring harnesses up on top of the engine like his does either. Okay. Well, send me a link, Walter, if you can. Send me a link if you can on that. I'll check it out, and we'll try to definitely figure out what's going on, because it's going to get real costly if we don't figure it out. Either that or just have him not take a car down to NC State. And he wants that. He wants the mobility of being able to get back and forth home and everything. So it can be a pain, but we can't continually afford to spend $300 or $400 every few weeks getting this repaired either. And it could get worse, because this time they actually chewed up. It's sort of funny, but not funny. He just put on this new wiring harness, and that's the one they chewed completely back up, plus another wire. So we've got two different wiring harnesses we're going to have to replace this time. It was one last time, and I think that wiring harness was $150, and now he's going to have to replace it again, plus another wiring harness. So we're going to be a world of hurt if this continues on. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. Hey Jeff, good morning to you too. How is it out there in sunny California? Is it warm out there? Usually is. We're dealing with the up and down weather here, and getting soaked too. The weather we've had, gosh, I want to say this month of January, we probably have had close to 9 or 10 inches of rain. I mean, I know that one spell where we really got a lot. We got almost 6 inches of rain, and now we've had, over the past 4 or 5 days, I know we've had 2 or 3 more. So I would venture to say we've probably have got 10 inches of rain, and it's sort of ironic. I mean, we were in a drought situation back in the late summer, early fall, but now we're in a surplus. $90 on Amazon. Okay, I might have to check that out, Jamie. Mouse blocker, 12 volt. 43. Well, now ours is crazy. Ours at my temperature here last night around midnight was like 63 degrees, and ours has continually gone down during the night. Now it's about 47 degrees. It went from 60 something, and when we got up this morning, it was like 50, 54. And when I came up to the building here, it was 48. And it's supposed to get colder during the day today. So all right, I appreciate it, Jamie. I'll grab that link. I'll grab that link and see if we can't do that to repel the mice, because we definitely have a mouse or some sort of rodent. You know, I hope they don't have some sort of weird rodent going around down at NC State where something leaked out of one of their labs down there, because they're all about agriculture and everything else down there. They got engineering and agriculture and everything else. They may have a hybrid a hybrid mouse or chipmunk or squirrel or something that leaked out of their lab. I don't know. I hope not. But they definitely have an issue down there. Like I said, since we know it was more than one car, it was my grandson's car and then his roommates, and they park in the same parking lot. I told him to be sure to not park near any grassy parts or where trees or anything are at. Just park out in the middle of the parking lot if he could, where it's just nothing but pavement. So maybe it wouldn't be attracted to it as easily. Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. Mouse issues can be a small issue from what we got going on in today's world, isn't it? We got with all the border problems we have and just everything coming up with the election. I mean, this election is going to be one of the weirdest I've ever seen in my life, I believe, with one party trying to do everything in their power to arrest and keep somebody out of power, and then complain that if they don't get them back in, that democracy is dead, which to me, they're killing democracy by trying to illegally arrest somebody and keep their political enemy off the ballot and everything else. I mean, we have a real screwed up situation right now in the politics. I've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, it's whether you're either on one side or the other. I mean, you want democracy. You want to be able to elect officials in the proper manner, in and out, and let them make the rules and regulations. You don't want somebody going after somebody with the Justice Department and everything else to try to trump up. And we say trump up because that's going to be an acronym or a adjective from now on for all sorts of things, because what are they doing? They're doing their best to make what happened on January 6th the most traumatic thing that's ever happened. And it's not. Basically, people walked through the Capitol. You had a few people that got in there and did some bad things, but very few. The majority of the people, as it's shown, just walked through and got arrested and got served. A lot of people served time unjustly, I think. But, you know, I'm glad I wasn't part of anything like that. But there's a lot of things we will never know what went behind the scenes on that January 6th. Too much FBI, too much undercover things that we'll never know. I mean, it's just not feasible for us to know, but we'll see. Yeah, I know that this, yeah, all this crap in the Middle East. I mean, they're trying their best to uh, deflect attention away from this election coming up with wars. I mean, and they can't. They're most people are sick and tired of Zelensky and the war they're having. I mean, I'm sorry, if you know, unless you're going to really fight a war, you know, it's what's the old saying, shit or get off the pot, you know, and they're not doing it, and they're just draining our economy because of that war and the other ones. I mean, all these war mongrels out there that we've got, these war happy people like Lindsey Graham, and who is a Republican, and a lot of others who they love war for some reason or other. They're getting their wishes right now, and I don't like it one bit. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, the military industrial complex we're seeing is one of the scariest things uh, to America itself. I mean, I know it probably scares the entire world how mighty they are, but you know, the industrial complex, military industrial complex. I don't know how we get that under control. We built a monster. I think I think World War II initiated the monster. We had to have it then, and they've never let it die down since then. So it's only gotten bigger, and it's gotten so big that even the government itself can't hardly control it. Oh yeah, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. I mean, you think about it. We've been under some sort of conflict for the past 70 years. I mean, it went from WW2 to the Korean War, from the Korean War to the Vietnam uh, invasion, and then to a Vietnam War. Went from the Vietnam War to the Gulf Wars, and or not well, and then uh, went from the Gulf Wars to the Middle East. I mean, we just there's wars all over. I mean, we seem to thrive on keeping wars going all the time. I mean, I can't remember a time in my life that hasn't been some conflict going on in some part of the world. I mean, and I grew up, you know, I mean, I was born in 51, so I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of different things, and I mean, I don't remember the Korean War. I I remember people talking about it, but I mean, I mean, it started about the time I was born and uh, ended before I was any size at all. But then, like I said, right from that, by the time I was in school, we maybe had just a lull of a couple of years that we weren't too much involved in anything. Of course, we had the Cuban crisis when I was in the early 60s, and everybody's building bomb shelters and things like that. Uh, they were, and then we were all worried about the nuclear wars. So it's been a mess. Well, it could have been. I mean, you know, the military complex. I mean, I think it's gotten really. I think where it got really big was in World War II. In World War One, probably got some of it started too, but when they took all the industry and converted it into the war machine, I think that's when it really took off. Uh, when you see that everything was nationalized and that nobody was building automobiles or anything else, and everything was turned over to the war effort for about 4 or 5 years there. That's when it really grew big, and people saw a big profit in a war machine. So that to me was when the catalyst of it got started the most. I realize WW1, it probably initiated because it was a world war. It kind of implemented a lot of things, but I think initially, uh, when Roosevelt came in and made all these companies convert for the war effort, then that kind of spurred a lot of interest in just building military. That's my opinion. No, Zelensky doesn't want Trump. He wants free money. So Zelensky wouldn't want Trump at all. I wouldn't think, because Trump's going to try to make him accountable, and that's the thing I like about Trump. There's a lot that I don't on his personality, but and I wish he would be less abrasive, but in some ways that's makes him likable to a lot of people. It turns off a lot of people, but he says it like it is. He's not somebody I'd want to buddy around with uh, because of his nature, but he gets his policies and everything. He gets things done. That's what I'm after. I just don't want. I don't want the economy and everybody's talking now. The Democrats are all talking, oh, the economy's great. No, the economy's great for the people that have gotten money. The small guy, he's suffering right now with the price of groceries and gas and everything else, the inflation, trying to buy a home. You can't do it. And, that's where uh, things are crazy. And I don't understand. We're in a building boom right now. I'm seeing housing developments go up everywhere. And I'm afraid we're going to have a glut of homes before long. We're going to see a crash on that before long, like they did back in 07, 08. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true. There's a lot to be said with that, Jeff. You go back and read about Henry Ford. Henry Ford was he praised Hitler in some ways, and of course he had to be kind of they got him they he about ruined himself by going behind and doing some stuff for the Germans, but it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. My youngest brother, one that passed a year or so ago, he got into the army right as the Vietnam War was ending, and about that same time, about 73, and uh, he went in after high school, and he saw the destruction uh, of some of the uh, the end of the war and everything. But luckily, he didn't have to fight in the heavy parts of Vietnam or anything. And I was raised. I could have, and I had several classmates and everything else that did have to go. And fortunately for me, that's the one lottery. I've said this before. That's the one lottery that I won. I mean, I actually had a real high lottery number, and they weren't scheduled to pick that high. I mean, they basically would have got everybody before they'd gotten me. Uh, I think my number was 320 something, 319, 320 something in that line, out of a possible 364. So, and they never got up into the middle 200s at the most. I don't even know how high they went in the lottery, but I was pretty safe, thank goodness. And also, my brother just older than me. Both of us, just out of luck, we both hit a decently high lottery number, and that's unusual. Yeah. Henry Ford was kind of controversial. I mean, they try to play it down now, but yeah, if you go back and read and check a lot of different things, I mean, you can uh, you can check some of the stuff about Henry Ford. He was very controversial, and he was not always in alignment with the government. And but he kept himself fairly straight toward the end. But yeah, there were the in the 30s. He aligned himself politically wrong, I think, as far as the sentiment of what was going on in the United States. Period. About being anti-Hitler and everything else. So yeah, you have to read some of that, and I think he even had a manifesto out or something. If I remember right, I can't. I try to remember these things, but I like watching some of these documentaries about stuff like that. I mean, they're interesting, uh, and you find out who you think might have been a goody goody, and they weren't. Uh, and that's what's surprising. Sometimes you think of a company or a person, and you think, well, they've really done uh, you know philanthropic things, and no, they haven't. But it's interesting, and it's interesting, going back and studying all the major families, major rich families, the Rockefellers and J.P. Morgan and and just all the Vanderbilts and everybody else. It's pretty darn interesting to see how much was controlled by just a few families, and now we're inundated with new billionaires. Uh, they were basically millionaires back then. People didn't think $1 million was something you didn't even think about ever making. And now $1 million is not that much through inflation. I mean, you can think of a lot of people that have would be like have $1 million in assets and everything else, and it's more common than you think. And I mean, basically myself personally, I don't have $1 million to spend, but I mean, I have lots of assets. I got a 75-acre farm. I've got 3 commercial buildings. Uh, I, I own my home, and 99% of everything I own, I don't owe for anymore. I've got 2 commercial buildings I'm still have payments on. This one's paid for. But like I said, 75 acres of land and 2 homes down here, they are paid for. And most of my vehicles and stuff like that. Uh, so I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm not, I don't want to lose what I've got, but, but to look at a lot of different people out there that have a lot of assets. I mean, there's plenty of people that have a lot of assets and that have made uh, what you would say would make them a millionaire, but it doesn't have the same connotation to it that it did back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, if you were a millionaire back in the 50s, oh man, you had more money than you would need for the rest of your life and your family would need for the rest of your life. But that's not that way anymore. I mean, it takes a lot to operate. I mean, when you think about the average salary, I mean, the average household needs $100,000 to be in any uh, substance at all. It's tough. Yeah, yeah. George Soros is he's a that is an evil, evil man there. One evil man. Well, that's exactly right, Jamie. I mean, that's the thing. I worked hard. I didn't inherit. We didn't inherit anything. I mean, I let me take that back. We did inherit a little bit, very small amount. My wife's family, we as a family inherited the farm, but we got 1/5 of it. We had to buy 4/5 of it out. So we had to pay a substantial amount of money to buy out the relatives so we could retain the farm that we have here. My wife was able to get 1/5 of it, but I mean, it was valued at, right at $500,000. And we had to, of course, that 500,000 was divided by five. So that's about 100,000 a piece. So we had the rest of it to buy out to get the farm, which is about right at $400,000 that we had to spend of our real money to get the farm. And so, fortunately, we had sold the trucking business, so we were able to take monies and everything else we had accumulated, buy the farm, pay them off. I had less money in the bank, but I didn't go into debt for it either. So I didn't want to go out and make a $400,000 loan or anything to buy the farm. So that's where we're at. But I, I don't mind holding on to land. It's going to increase in value, and that's neither one way or the other. But I've been fortunate. Like I said, the trucking business did really well for me. Uh, we grew that from one truck all the way up to about 50, and did it a little at a time. We didn't. I mean, we went into debt buying trucks, keeping drivers, able to get routes. Then we started purchasing some routes. I mean, initially, we just got routes from FedEx because I was an earlier adopter. I was one of the first that started at RPS, and which turned into FedEx Ground. And we, I was fortunate that I didn't have to buy routes. We were awarded routes by back then that, if you were good at working and stuff and you could bid on routes. And that's what I did. I started bidding on routes, and if they liked your work ethic, you could be awarded a route. And that's what I did. We obtained some through that kind of situation. And then to get the biggest part, we had to start buying other routes. But we did that, did well with that. And my wife and I uh, were able to carry on with a pretty good sized business for uh, a good many years there with FedEx. And then when my health took a bad spell and I had my had the bypass surgery and everything, I had to basically decide, am I going to live or, try to keep running this business? So I wanted to live. So we sold off the business, kept a few things, like I said, with these shops and all that. But Uh, that's where we're at today. But, you know, sold off, had to pay a ton of tax. I mean, we wrote a check 1 year for almost $500,000 in taxes, and which was the most heartbreaking thing that I've ever done, uh, to pay that much in, in federal and state tax at one time. But when you got capital gains, that's what they're going to get you on. I mean, it's sort of a crazy situation. You work all your life, you make some money, you think you've got some money, and then they come around and they say, nope, here's your share. We're taking our half, basically, almost. I mean, that's like you go out and listen to these people that hit the lottery for $1 million. They don't get $1 million. Time taxes get through with them, they're doing good to get 600,000, and that's basically where we were. When we got our some of our initial capital gain, and we got some big checks. Uncle Sam was right there with their hand out saying, and we want that a huge portion of that. And that's what happens. No way out of it. I mean, everybody says, well, can't you hide it? Can't you do this? And no, not legally. They're gonna get you. You're either gonna, I don't know. I haven't seen any way to shelter it. I mean, some people have probably got ways, but we went ahead and bit the bullet and paid some huge taxes. I wish I could get some of that money back, but haven't seen a way to do it yet. But it is what it is. I can't a bigger, if I had a bigger pile of money, it ain't gonna make me any happier. So I want to be happy. That's the main thing. I mean, if you think a pile of money is gonna make you happy, you're fooled. Uh, being to a situation where, and my wife and I were talking about this the other day, when you're in a situation where you don't have to go to work, you don't have to worry about money coming in to pay bills, that's probably the nicest situation to be in that you'll ever be. And fortunately, I'm that way. Unfortunately, health wise, I'm not that way. I don't have the best of health anymore. I'm going Wednesday for a high definition CT scan to see what my lung problem is. I mean, most of y'all that have been on the channel here for a while, you know that I have breathing issues now. I mean, since the bypass surgery and everything, I can't breathe as good, and so I'm trying to get that resolved. So it's sort of crazy. You get to the point in life, you get a little bit of money, you get ahead, then Uncle Sam takes their big share. Then the next thing you know, your health goes all to crap. And then you think, wow, this is crazy. But it is what it is. I'm still thankful. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm thankful to still be on the top side. I'm not pushing daisies. And I'm thankful that, I'm at the point in my life that I don't have to work. I don't have to work. I'm totally retired, except for what I want to do. And that's my shop. I do. Jim does most of the work up here, although he's been on vacation this past week. Jim went camping. Excuse me. Let me take me a drink. Jim went camping again this week. So he's up. I think he said he was going to Mayberry or Mount Airy, but around here we just call it Mayberry because up there where Andy Griffin grew up. Good gracious. They're going to be sticking these illegals. I mean, and now Biden is saying he's going to stop the illegals. He's trying to change it for political reasons only. Here he has fought it for for 4 years almost, or 3.5 years. And now where he sees he's losing the vote because of these illegals, he's going to try to he's trying to turn the tables, saying, "Oh, it's the Republicans. They're not wanting to vote this money." Well, no, they don't want to vote money going to Zelensky and everywhere else, and when our border is not safe. And I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do on that, but we'll see. Yeah. Well, you know, I appreciate how everybody out there understands what we did, and I hope everybody uh, understands that. Yeah, Barbara and I worked hard. There was a lot of, you know, most of my weeks were, well, it just didn't. It was a 7 day a week job. It was 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. It seemed like. Uh, I mean, we were always. I mean, Barbara and I would get out, and maybe if we were going somewhere, we had to have several phones with us. We had a mobile office always at our hand, because we knew even going down the road, if we were going to Hilton Head or someplace, whereas Hilton Head was a luxury thing in a way, but we also had an office there. Um, it never was luxury to me. Barbara got to get out and relax a little bit. I was always felt like I was on call trying to keep things rolling. And but we're so fortunate that we're no longer with it. I mean, I still have multiple phones, but I have everything condensed down, so I don't have a headache that I used to have. That's for sure. I mean, it used to be amazingly uh, tough out there. Oh yeah, I mean, I had them trucks night and day. I had them split up pretty even, and a lot of times I did that on purpose so I could double utilize. I mean, that's one thing that people don't realize. I mean, it's kind of stupid to. I mean, guys that have team trucks, those trucks are going out all the way and then coming back, and they're running 24 hours a day. Well, I tried to do the same thing on single operation runs. I had a situation where I'd slip seat and double utilize the truck. Uh, I mean, that truck might run from Savannah to Charlotte at night, and then during the daytime, run a different run. And uh, I had several like that. Of course, it got down where they overlapped a little bit, and you couldn't do it for all of them. But I had enough flexibility that I could move equipment around. Yeah, it makes me sick that like I said, I paid about 400 something thousand at one check, and I told Barbara, I said, I guarantee that I could take that money and make it work for the government, make it work for the people a lot better than what they're going to do with this same amount. I mean, they're going to take it and squander it away, and and give it to illegals, give it to people that don't need it. I mean, can you imagine how much money we have? How many billions, not millions, billions of dollars we have wasted on these illegals coming across right now? I mean, we're putting them up in housing, we're putting them up in all kind of different locations, we're feeding them, we're you know giving them all kind of different benefits. I mean, how can we afford as a nation to keep doing that? I mean, we've got to we we have ripped off a bandage. We're bleeding badly, and don't know how to fix it. And that's what we got to be able to do. I mean, people that can't see that our government is bleeding money right now. I mean, you got the war, two wars going on, and the immigrant problem, our border problem. I mean, we seem to me on the world stage, we got to be the stupidest country in the world right now, the way they're running it. Oh, I know it. You know, free medical, free education, free food. I mean, I know that they're, I don't know. I know they want to better themselves, but I mean, I'm scared of the weird people that coming across. I mean, I saw some reports the other day, and and there's some people coming across that they're going to be violent against our nation one day. There're going to be some gangs. There's going to, you mark my word, there're going to be people that we wished and somehow that we had never let come into the United States. I mean, it's these MS-13 and all these kind of they're getting in all these cities. So we're going to see some bad situations, I'm afraid. What's up, Joey? You've been in the hospital. Wow, I'm sorry about that. I hope nothing too serious, Joey. I hope nothing too serious. I hope you're getting better. I don't know what you were in the hospital for, but gosh, I hate to hear that. Hospital stay is not a good thing, that's for sure. I don't like to be in the hospital at all. Yeah. Or are you doing okay, Joey? I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. The border crisis is pathetic. And like I said, it's something. Well, you got to keep your health in good shape, Joey. I know, you know, I'm trying to get mine better. I'm trying to lose some weight. I've been able to change my medication up, and I am losing a little bit of weight. Hopefully, I'll lose on down to where I've got a good handle on my diabetes and everything else. Good gracious, Joey. I'm sorry to hear that. Now, have you got a COVID of some sort, or you just got that respiratory problem that everybody's got going around? I know it, Walter. I mean, and then once they give them a license, then they've got an ID that they can turn that ID into a voting process, and that's the other thing that's crazy. So you're at Albany Med right now. Is that an outpatient thing, or is that are you are you still in the hospital? Let me go back up. Oh, you're in the emergency department. Okay. Gosh, hopefully they'll figure things out, Joey. I, well, let's everybody pray for Joey. Uh, I tell you, it amazes me how they're taking people like that and they're converting them automatically without any way to background check them. Yeah, yeah. We all, I hope you can get better, Joey. I mean, just it things are tough. I mean, when you can't breathe, and I know about not being able to breathe good. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. And the older you get, and, like a lot of us, the older we get, the heavier we get. Uh, and that's sort of a natural progression for most people. I mean, most of us don't stay the same weight we were when we were 18. I had to, my grandson went for a medical procedure, and he filled out his chart, and he's 140 pounds. I'm thinking 140. How long has it been since I was 140? I think I was probably 17 or 18 last time I was that small. And to be that small and to of course he's healthy looking. He's healthy. He looks good. And I just I can't imagine being that small, being 30 in the waist or whatever. Yeah, we need to be positive, Joey. I want you to keep us up to date, or let us know what's going on. Um, I generally see your Facebook post. I hadn't seen any lately, but uh, sorry to hear that you're feeling bad and all that. Yeah, it's I like I said, I'm headed to the doctor this week. I've been waiting on this procedure. I've got to get it done. I've got to go have this high definition CAT scans, because they're still trying to figure out why I don't have enough breathing capacity. And they've checked my diaphragm and everything else, and it gets tough. I mean, it's so tough that right now I'm about ready to call it a day, because I'm getting tired as we speak. So y'all guys, y'all take care and everything. I'm gonna get on out of here. I've enjoyed chatting with everybody this morning. Y'all take care, and I'll catch you around here later. See you guys.